It's in the thought, so thank you, I appreciate that. Just want to give the board a quick update on the rebound and in spite of a lot of the setbacks, we're still pretty much on schedule. I do appreciate that IT has reached out to me personally because I think I've been speaking as really of Delaware County, and I'm okay with that. Because we, again, have not been able to upload photos and we lost our ability to generate the canned letters that are templates within our RPS program. I think we on occasion, but some I can do. So anyway, so I'm very happy to report that those items were fixed. I will say that one of the things that I'm speaking on right now with IT, I'm not sure if there's a solution or a workaround for it. The upload time to add photos or to run comp sales, like when people come in and say, oh, Tiffany, how did we get to that number? So I'm going to generate your comparable sales report and your comparable assessments. And because of this new way that we're logging into the Delaware County server, it's I haven't timed it exactly, but a upload photo takes about 70 seconds. It doesn't sound, but when it is a lot. And when you're trying to generate times, it's about as long. And if I have to say, oh, the house is not, this house is more like mine, and we can check that one the other one. But again, it's a little more than a minute per thing. So it's very time consuming. And quite frankly, I'm not sure that they can actually fix it. Again, it's because of the way that you're, sending data back and forth across this new bridge, if you will, this electronic handshake. But it's hopefully something that they can work out. We're going to see. In terms of engine processing, that time of year it gets to be where seniors, not-for-profit, agricultural, forestry exemptions, all those are due on March the 1st. And generally speaking, I get the majority of those out in the mail by the first week of December. So DEC sends out the renewals for the 488 exemption for the forestry exemption. And I've already sent out the agricultural ones for the farmers as well as those who lease land farmers. Those are out. I've already gotten money back, which is great. Because the more that we can do that, again, trying to beat the holiday mail. So people have gotten them. I've already gotten some seniors in, and the not-for-profits will go out in the next couple of days. There's a lot of paper involved with the RSPs. So those are big ones. So it's all, we're really money right again. We want to get not only do I want to keep the mail, but I also want to get those very standard kind of transactions kind of out of the way so that I can devote more of my time to the project. Okay. Alan and I met a few weeks ago with the Roxbury Central School people, the new super, as well as the board president, to talk about the firefighters exemption. I had a follow-up call with Ed Galaxy a couple of days ago. He was on the board and felt like we didn't know anything about it. So, and I explained to Ed, and as Alan and I explained to Stacy and Ed Hirsch, the exemption itself is it's a rewrite of an existing exemption that we never had. We in Delaware County never had. We, the town of Roxbury, never had. So that older exemption that we collectively did not have is going to sunset at the end of 2025. So if a town that has that, a county or a school district that has that exemption, they don't have to pass this new one. So it's brand new for the rest of New York State, for the municipalities that have already adopted it. It's not new. It's just been broadened a little bit to include survivors, which I think is a great idea. And as Alan correctly pointed out, it's a very small number of people. We have a very small responding force in Grand Gorge and in Roxbury, which is why they'll pass it for us back in April. The county passed that exemption back in August. And the school seems to be coming on board. They're actually having a board meeting on Wednesday night. If I'm able to drive up my driveway by Wednesday, and if they need me to attend to answer questions, I'm more than happy to do that. So it's good for the town and it's good for the town. And again, we're talking about a very minuscule percentage of the vote in terms of those who will become. Okay. So one of the things I want to bring up to you tonight is the senior exemption and our request for an increase in the maximum income level for the senior exemption. You know, so why are we asking for this? It's because assessed values are going to, in 2015, we asked for an increase, and in 2019, and then later on, it all those increases, believe it or not, just about where they were in terms of how much they were going to receive in benefit on their school tax bill. And it's the same way, it's the same reason that we're asking for it now. And Bob and I felt collectively. And also, I wanted to mention that John Wellham, who is the director for our region, who was here and will be here at our board meeting in February to talk about the tax shift associated with the rebound. And he was the first one that said, I've been talking to your town board about increasing your limit. And he said, you know what? We haven't, and we're going to. And so Bob and I and John, so we thought that using a very non-subjective number such as the 2023-24 income table makes a great deal of sense. So basically, the maximum income for a one-person household to qualify for heat is $35,000 a month or 36 $4.99 around the second person spot, but in my system, I have to call it 36 $4.99. It's that penny and the top difference. And we felt that it was a number that makes sense. It will again likely keep people mostly now more or less where they are today. I have not talked to the school about this yet, but I thought that since we're having this meeting, and by the way, there is an item on the agenda that is asking for a correction. It's basically a $1 correction for our existing table. In case you didn't want to do this, because that table needs to conform to our real property program in order for me to use the calculator built in. But what we really want you to do is vote to approve us to move forward with the appropriate notices, public meeting, and so forth to adopt this new income level for seniors for the town. Any questions about that? Any comments about that? So if the board feels like you'd like to move forward with that, which we think we can collectively is the absolute best thing to do for our senior population. But remember too, it has to be a partner. It cannot be an LLC. It cannot be a corporation. You have to have lived there for 2 years minimum. So, and that's baked into the law. That's not what they're doing, it's the state. You know what I mean? So I think it's going to be important and beneficial and helpful to keep seniors more or less where they are today, as opposed to watching their bill. Right. I want to ask the board, before I went to the attorney to do that, I want to make sure that they were on board with that. So we don't need So I will, and I'm having to be Bob and I, and John are having the conference call tomorrow with Kristen, and we'll, ask, we'll say that the board will be in agreement to move forward on that, and she'll draw up all the notices and the local law for publication and so forth. Get that in and post. Okay. Is to change the word village to the word town. The only change is my fire. I know, but yeah, so. Sorry.
Stay together. Yeah. So, Eight percent on like the UC 15, around 15. Okay. Yeah. Something about that. Look, okay. You gotta look at. I That's really cool. Things that we use that are generic for. Is that everything we've got as far as truck, as far as Freightliner, as far as the suspension, the transmissions, right down to our small truck? It's limited on what that equipment and what John Deere equipment will do, right? So. Yeah, I'm not talking about that. Okay, it didn't really calm me out there. It's really cool. Okay, good, very reasonable. Um, so, steep shootings.
Can you go through the price again? There. Yeah, that's the one kind of stuff. Maybe not, we can still have, just.
Yeah.
Right. Right. Racing.
Right, the things.
Parents not here tonight. Just ask Mike to give us a brief update. We also have a bit. Yeah. The major small water line down. What's the briefly about that? Yeah, he's there when you were talking.
Alan?
Hold on a second here. Check here what I'm doing. Give me just a second. Test 1 2, test 1 2. We're working okay. Mike, can you hear us now?
I can hear you now. Thanks.
Okay.
I couldn't
All
hear
right.
anything. I couldn't hear anything before.
Yeah, something must have been wrong with my I don't know what it was.
Are you guys ready for me or?
Yeah, I was sorry, we were just talking. I said, while you're on here, so we don't have to hold you on, we'll talk about those bids.
Mike, we're never ready for you, but go ahead.
And then you send us a report. If you have anything else briefly you want to go through, that's fine. So,
Yeah, I think it is primarily just the decision on the contract 9 bid award, and this Birdsall excavating had good references. I think the decision really is just whether what we do on the 2 alternates. And as I've spoken to Chris previously and also briefly with Alan, I think we're all in agreement that the additive alternate 1.9 for those additional valves is going to be well worth it for the improved control you'll get with the system. And then the other alternate is just the standard deduct that we put into our contracts. If we switch to PVC, C900 PVC pipe instead of the DIP. Again, technically equivalent. It's just if the town just wants to stick with ductile iron when they can, then you do that. But if we want to, save 10,000 in the overall budget, that it's a technically equivalent option.
I've talked to Mike a couple of times about it. I don't see any real options or real problems with going with the PVC pipe. You've got PVC pipe other places in the system.
I mean, you, great shit.
including just above on this line. When we went around to Bodwin's house, that was all done with PVC, so I don't see any reason to go with ductile. You guys are okay with it? Okay. And then, so if we're all good, when we get the resolutions, we'll go ahead and accept the bid for the Birdsell
Yep,
construction.
and if you guys, once you sign the notice of award, just have Diane send that over to me in the morning and I'll get things rolling.
Okay, sounds good. Did you have anything else, Mike, that you needed to?
Well,
go over with us?
I think most of this, you've got the change order for Evergreen and their pay application, right?
Yep.
Oh.
Yep, that's
And
it.
okay, those two, basically the change order is included on the pay app, so you have to approve both of them or it won't work. Just a reminder. Landscaping at the new well building. This is a new item. I just didn't know if there was anyone on the board or any committee that we should talk to about looking at basically the contract includes 3 trees. You know, they're probably not in the greatest location because I laid them out. Maybe someone else would want to basically look at the landscaping in front of the water plant. Just an idea. If nobody cares, we'll go with something.
You want like an evergreen or something like that? Is that what you're talking about, or?
Not necessarily a type of tree, but maybe, you know, just the layout of the trees and maybe replacing them with shrubs or something, you know,
I think we should.
just a second look at it.
We'll look at it. That doesn't need to be decided right away, does it?
I'll send you something, Alan.
All right, that sounds good.
Sorry to bog you down with that, but
No problem.
all right. Any other questions on any of the other items?
I think I'm good. Are you guys all set?
Good.
Okay.
All right, does Chris give a report? Should I stay on for
Yeah.
that or not?
Chris is sitting right here. If you want, I'll put him on next. So.
Go Chris, go.
Yeah, so the Roxbury spring system is now fully functional. We can run it at will. It's set so that if it reaches a certain turbidity limit, it shuts off, so it doesn't produce while it's at a high turbidity. Well, 3 is down right now. We had a short circuit in the VFD and it fried the circuit board. But the circuit, there's one ordered and it'll be here, I believe, and installed the 26th of the month. At Denver Water, the new floor is in. It looks great. I can mop it now. Vacuum and mop. At Great Gorge, in the basement of the PRD building, they installed a new flow meter, and they also hooked. They gave me a new warning signal for when the well reaches 29 feet, so that I can get there before it spills over, because we've had problems with the PRB sticking open sometimes. So that's a good plus there. At Roxbury Sewer, I was outside in my driveway Saturday evening, and I heard this long beat, this constant tone beat. But I didn't get an alarm call on my phone. So I walked over to the plant and turned off it's the generator. The generator was in alarm. The block heater went, and my coworker and I figured out the next Sunday morning that it was the block heater, and it was preventing it from starting. So I had to contact Kinsley and have him come out to emergency service. I figured to get it done before the snowstorm hit, and sure enough, we did lose power overnight. So that happened, and in Roxbury, the other part of Roxbury Sewer is we replaced the Crispin air valve at the end of Crump Lane,
in preparation for doing all these flushings of the air release valves. That went great, everything went well, now we're confident that we can go through and do the flushing of the rest of the valves. And then that's it for the water and sewer and Roxbury sewer.
Thanks, Chris. Anybody?
You live where you live.
And
Might wish he didn't live there. All right, moving on. Let's see, Denise on here, she got us a report. Anybody have any questions or comments with her report?
Just the alcohol.
Oh,
Well,
that's
if
right.
we wanna have alcohol, what do we need? Do we need to pass?
We
Have
have
them
to,
write some, Kristen, or I'm supposed to write something up?
yeah, I did we get anything from Kristen about that? Diane, I remember her talking about, or us talking with her about it. We had it was Lindsay had originally drafted something for us, and I think we wanted to have,
But we haven't done anything with Kristen. So
yeah, it was all with Lindsay, but I think we should probably
I can see what we have.
revisit that with Lindsay now that she's kind of taking over since Kristen, with Kristen, I mean, since she's taken over. I question whether we need to. Always been allowed, it's always happened, it's never really been an issue. You know, for the sake of doing that. I want to talk with them a little bit. More about it, see what they think. All right, planning board, do we have anything for planning board? I didn't see anything in the packet. No. Okay. All right, building and grounds. I know we had some work done up on the Civic Center roof. And they were able to get that drain fixed, right?
Well, Rich
Rich, yeah,
Davis came down
and he got the drain.
McCoy, and they.
Yeah.
They had a longer pole. And it was long. So it paid off,
Yeah.
and we looked at,
And they inspected the rest of the roof, and you said there were a couple of things they thought we should do there, right?
yeah, he said he was gonna send something.
I haven't seen it as an order. Exactly.
Yeah, I thought that
Pay
they,
attention. Hungry.
that they were sending something. When he talked and
Yeah, he was gonna send us a code or something.
he showed me some pictures of stuff that are, you know, along the edges where it's pulling back some. And said that ought to be looked at or something, but, he had it all on his phone, the pictures, and he had about 12 pictures on there, and I couldn't see them very good, you know, with being outside in the shadows. But he said he was gonna send
I haven't seen anything yet, we'll look for it. Hey,
Rich said he got those, bathrooms in the two front rooms there, he's got those, disconnected and. So that's all done. He suggests when if we put in flooring in there or to cover the holes or whatever, have it so that they're removable. It's not a permanent, but in case sometimes somebody has to
Yeah.
get down in there and do something with
Sure.
those
Yeah.
existing. I gave you guys a thing I had got back from Powell's, which is, I guess we can't do anything until we have something that, you know, for definite, and I think a lot of that cost probably is cost on looking at, justice. Doing the wall, opening the wall there. Yeah, that's about all I have.
okay,
What about, we had a leak in the town hall the last time we talked about it? Can you look at that?
the old town hall.
Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't talk to Diane about this, I got a quote or an estimate. from the guys that are doing the roof over here on the railroad station. Talked to Steve first, and he said he's too busy. Get his lift here and get it up there and stuff, he just didn't have time. So. This guy that's doing the work on the railroad station here in town, they've been doing roof work there. He said they'd take a look at it, he got back to me. He said it's gonna be about, he said he has to have a lift to get up there to do it. He said about $300 to rent the lift for the day, and then it's probably, he figured another 1,000 or so probably to do work and do what he needs to do there. So, 2 guys and part of the day.
Did he address what it was?
Yeah, the shingles came loose. They're architectural shingles, they're not really worn out, they either weren't stapled on right, or they didn't stay good or whatever. And then the only other thing that needs to be done, which is a problem for quite a while, is on the sewer vent needs to be replaced. But again, to get up there, about the only way to do it is with plants. This guy said he would try to get to it in the next week if we're okay with it.
Got a lift over there.
No, he had it, and he sent it back. But he said he can get it for a day. And bring it over. So if you guys are okay with it, while he's up there, I'm gonna have him check, just make sure there's no other problems with shingles on the other side.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
All right, so we'll do that.
This is just on the ice one,
No, this is on the old town hall building.
so this guy's gonna do that too.
They already, the ice house is really the responsibility of the railroad. Because we lease it to them, that their responsibility was to keep it waterproof, I thought. It's part of their lease, because they're usable. And they did go in there and they did repair some of the tin up there and got that, so it's back waterproof again. They had a lift there for about a week that they were using on the railroad station. And while they were there, they went up and did do some work on the ice house too.
So we need a resolution for this guy to do this work.
So,
Yes. So what?
okay, I'm confused, because when we talked, you said the guys from the railroad station doing the roof, they were gonna do the ice house.
We are doing things now.
Well, I guess
Now you're saying.
I asked
it
them
doesn't
to look
fall
at,
under
I asked them to look at the town hall repairs we needed where the shingles fell off. They might have misspoken and said ice house, but it wasn't the ice house. The ice house they already did, because that was done as part of the railroad's contract with us for the lease that we had. They already repaired that. They were over there last week. While they had the lift here, they went up on there and reattached some of the roofing. The metal roofing. We got it back, so it's not leaking again.
So you got a quote from them?
Yeah, he gave me kind of a time and materials quote. He said it was gonna be about 300 to rent the lift. And then he figured time wise, probably about $1,000 to be 2 guys. For part of the day, so it's gonna probably be about $1,000. So roughly 1,500.
I'll make a resolution that 1,500 to fix the old town building.
Yeah, first meeting second.
Okay.
You guys okay with it?
Yeah.
All in favor?
Aye.
If it wasn't so steep and easier to get to, it wouldn't have been near that much, but. All right, moving on, we have nothing from our health officer that I know of. Peg contacted me earlier today. She could not be here tonight. She said she'll give us a report on the 27th. Okay. Building inspector, as you know, we received a letter of resignation from our building inspector. We are going to discuss future options in the executive session for this. As it is. until the issue, so we're gonna have to do old business. We're skipping. I'd stay. The fire inspector, again, I've got some possibilities there, and I think I'd like to hold off on discussing that to see what we're gonna do with our building inspector. If possible, we can have the same job for both, same person for both. So. Highway contract matters, we're still discussing. And the building fees, again, will also be tabled or held out until we find out what we're doing with our new building inspector. Verizon cell tower lease, I did finally get comments back from Kevin's office, so I'm ready to send that to Verizon. And they'll develop a final lease, so we're getting closer. CDB audit recommendations and the procurement policy, I don't have anything new on that. But we have to make some decisions there, and I'm not very anything more. Is anybody else? Diane, do you have anything more? And the fair housing law, I believe, is still with Lindsay. She was looking it over and gonna get back with some recommendations, changes. Or with Kristen. Still. I think the meters on the NICEAG poles, once we came up with the price for the new, I think we've got to table that for a while until we can rethink how we're gonna handle that, so. At this point, that's tabled. You received letters from the board, the letter of resignation from Tommy, as building inspector, effective 1/1/24, and 2 letters from Renee Barkita concerning marijuana and drug use. Okay, with all that being said, I think unless anybody has anything else, we have any discussion from our huge crowd here tonight?
You were first. I just wanted to, first I wanted to say thank you for putting up the snowflakes. I think they look beautiful.
Mhm.
So whatever nice like it's charging you, it's worth it.
Well, that part was easy because they were already existing.
Okay, it's the ones that don't have the connection.
Problem is, the new poles, NICEAG's policy is we have to have a separate meter for each pole
Right.
and a separate electric service for each pole. It would be extremely costly to do this.
Right, right.
So we've got to rethink it or convince NICEAG to rethink their policy, which hopefully we can work something out there.
Yeah, but anyway, but thank you. And
Yeah.
the fire department helped put them up, right?
Yep.
With music?
Well, Mike Hinkley Electric, Mike Hinkley did.
Oh, sorry. Anyway.
But the
they-
fire department helped, but he had the bucket truck there too.
Okay, all right, they look beautiful. I did want to raise just one issue, and that's at the, I think it was the last meeting or maybe the meeting before. We had talked about the debt that the town is under. And also a little bit about maybe forming a group or having a meeting to talk about ways to either make more money or save money or something to work on that as an issue, because I think it was over $3 million now. And I know that we are working on those ARPA funds fairly quickly. I mean, we don't have too much left.
Well, they can't be used for retiring debt. Anyway,
Okay, all right,
there's very specific what they can be used for. and it's
Okay.
not-
all right,
They can't be used to augment budget operations or debt or anything like that. They have to be used for things like we've been doing, improvements and new purchases and things like that.
okay. I just think there should be some, I think people should know what the debt is and how
We
we are
spelled that out.
dealing
clearly,
with
didn't
it.
we?
What?
I think we spelled pretty clearly out what the debts were at the budget hearing.
Yeah, yes, and we've got that. That was at the meeting, not, but I think that people might have ideas on how we can raise money as a town and maybe help help with that debt. It's a lot of money that the town is carrying.
It is.
Right.
I don't think it's 3 million, is it?
It's over,
That
actually.
balances it still.
Yeah, balances too.
But on a lot of these projects, especially water projects.
Yeah, there's-
That's the only way you can do it.
Right,
and you can't raise money from someplace else to do that. It's gotta come through the water districts.
right.
I mean, we've done a lot in the last 15 years with upgrades to water and sewer.
And,
all of our
and, and
districts,
they're
and,
extremely important. I'm not
The
saying.
portion
that
that the
they're
town
not.
is getting versus what we spent on those
Mhm.
projects
Mhm.
is very minimal. Compared, I mean, what is it, 20, most of it is like 15 or 20% match, I think, a lot of those loans were,
All right,
and most of them were 0 interest, so
Okay.
it's.
well, even explaining that, very sort of straightforward, would be helpful so that
Okay.
people understand what it is that we're spending, what it is that we're getting for that money. And
Well,
then,
kind of what our budget process is, and we went through that a month ago, so.
okay, I was here for that, and what I said at
I know
the
you were.
time was.
I know you were,
Right, even with the session that we had, it's very difficult to understand exactly what the costs are for running the town. It just is, and I think it would be, I would like to see more, I'm not gonna use the word transparency, because I don't think you're trying to hide anything, but the way it is done is, difficult.
well, I think, correct me if I'm wrong, Diane, but I think that a lot of the budget policies and procedures are set by the state for the way that we need to present it, isn't that true? With the numbers and the categories and everything that's set up with those.
All the codes for each line item is determined by the state controller's office.
Yeah, that's
Their
it.
guidance. What I'm not understanding is why you don't understand the specific line item. They're very specific, especially more so in our preliminary budgets that we give out for the public hearing. There's
Mhm.
much more of a breakdown than what has to be actually reported on our budget that gets adopted and filed with the state.
Right,
Each line item clearly represents what department it is.
Mhm.
It's clearly represented in that preliminary budget as to what is for salaries,
Mhm.
what is for equipment,
Right,
and what is all other costs, which all other costs is any supplies. Things like that, which we have explained over the years. So I guess I'm not understanding what you're not understanding when there's very specific line items.
there are very specific line items, but the way it is written, because it's an annual, it's a yearly, right? So the monies that are due, and the interest that are due on certain bonds are for that year, right? So there's nowhere in the budget that I could see where I saw an overall of how much money the town. This is me,
Because
and this
there
is
again,
other people in the.
what you're
meeting.
asking for does not get reported in the budget.
I
It's its own
understand.
separate entity outside of that
Right,
as to total debt, which is not part of the budget. That only reflects the payments and interest that get paid.
I
that year.
totally understand that, and I know that there are requirements from the state. That's not it. I just, as a citizen, as a resident, I would like to have it more clearly laid out. Not for you to report to the state in that way, but just for,
Well, there again, all anybody has to do is just what you did, was ask what it is,
okay,
and you were given that.
yes, and
So
I
it was
think.
very clear as to what specific project it was for, what the current balance is.
Mhm.
If you want to know what the original amounts were, we can do that, but
Okay.
people just need to call me. I mean, we're not going to report that as far as the budget itself.
I totally understand, but I just think if people understood what it is that the town is dealing with, it would be better for everybody.
And to your point about a committee, we're 5 of us right here. We're the committee that do that. You
Okay,
elected us to do that. That's our job, to do the budget, to work with our bookkeeper and with our accountants and everybody else to make sure that it's worked. We are the budget committee.
Right,
We don't open up that to outside of the community. A budget is set by the elected officials that are here to
Mhm.
do it, and that's what we're doing. So that's the way it's done.
Okay, I understand, I
I
understand.
don't know how else
like-
to tell you that.
Okay,
You know, there again, I certainly appreciate you wanting to be involved in understanding the
We're
process.
more than willing to
A
help.
lot of these things, I'm a phone call away,
Minute,
you
Robin,
know? I'm not gonna put every shred of financial stuff out to everybody. If there's something in particular that, because it's all public information.
mhm,
I mean, all you have to do is ask.
okay, okay, then I will, and I'll send my request to you.
Robin,
And we strive very hard to be as public about this as we can, but
when I first became councilman, it took me 3 or 4 months to figure out what to look at, what to look for.
Mhm,
The same questions you're asking, I asked.
okay.
And it takes a while before you get it all in one big picture to where you understand it all. It's not something that's just gonna happen overnight, but as I said, I may be stupid or whatever, but it took. me
I
a
guess
while.
I am too.
well, don't feel bad because it took me a while too.
Yeah,
So
it's a little bit difficult.
Okay, so one thing, when I asked what our total debt was at the meeting, nobody could give me an answer. And I,
Well,
Find
nobody,
out.
well, I mean, we don't have that stuff in our head,
okay,
you know, I mean, that's kinda,
there's several
you know,
different
I
bonds
think
and
that's
loans, and
off the chart to ask us to know what's in our head about
mean,
every
it's-
single.
when you add it all up, it's
year.
one number, but there's 3 water districts and 2 sewer districts. There's a highway,
Highway department.
there's a general fund which covers pretty much everything else, and each one of them has its own budget. And each one of them has its own borrowing and debt and everything else based on what projects we've done over the years with all of those. And
mhm,
we try very carefully to balance it so that we're not getting any farther in, and as things get paid off, we can do more on other things, but. So as I said, that's kind of the way it all works, but again, it's not all in one lump sum, it's, even though it's all the town, it's several different entities involved with it, so.
right, I understand that. All right, I appreciate your patience, and I will try to learn as much as I
As I said,
can.
Diane's right here every day, so.
Okay, all right,
And our
thank you.
bookkeeper Beth is here 3 days a week, so you can talk with her anytime as well, so.
Okay, thank you.
I don't
Yes,
know,
ma'am.
Like he says, we got 3 different water districts, well, yeah, that's part of the town's total bill or debt or whatever, but they're all separate.
I know, I understand.
Where, you know, in the same way with the sewer. Just every building is. You allow so much for each budget or for that building, like we're talking the civic center and. The town building or the old town building, the old highway building. This building, there's a. But altogether, that's total bill, but you don't see that all. How to say that? It's
Okay, moving on. Judith, you had something you wanted to go over?
So well, I also, Jenny can't make it and she had something that she asked if I could say, but then for me, I just wanted to say thanks for everyone who came to the Kirkside event and participated in decorating, and those of you who missed it, you still have an opportunity. Kirkside is gonna be open from 5:30 to 6:30 every night this week going forward, Tuesday through Saturday. So please come and see all the hard work that your
You did do a beautiful job.
friends and neighbors, everyone does, and they're all so different, and the high school kids do stuff too, and you know, it's really nice to support that. So if you couldn't go on Saturday. And so this is Jenny now, okay? So she wanted to make sure that everyone was aware. She said, and I'm reading this, In a recent water clerk job posting made available on the town website and in the local newspaper, the town indicated that, quote, compensation and eligible benefits will be discussed further at an interview, unquote. As of September 17th, 2023, New York State businesses, I guess you count, with 4 or more employees are required to list compensation ranges for designated job opportunities, promotions, and transfers. It is important that all New York State employers create a fair and transparent workplace for its employees, and that begins with the job search. I'm sure this was an oversight, and I look forward to the town leading by example when it comes to good government practices in the future. So there's some new law that I guess they have to, at the RAG have to ascribe to. So, and she wasn't sure if you guys knew that. So that was, she said that she can send the government web pay transparency law for employers. It's called some new law. I would have no clue about it, but she asked if I
I'm
could.
not sure exactly what she referenced.
Yeah.
She's saying that everything should have been in that ad,
About the,
about the pay, about benefits,
It's already listed in our budget.
which at the time that I put the ad in, you guys were not sure if you were going to reduce pay, if you were going to keep the same pay.
and with many jobs, we don't know what the compensation is gonna be until we see who the candidate is and what their qualifications are, as with any private employer
I don't
section.
think, I
And
don't
then the
think. that
benefits
falls
are
into
part of
that
the
either.
employee handbook.
No, I mean, we
Okay.
may set a rate for a job, but we may get somebody that's way more qualified and can do many more things, and we may combine 2 jobs, so it's kind of hard to say this is exactly
Right.
what the salary is gonna be. Unless,
Yeah.
that's why it's like
Right,
that.
And if she looks in her preliminary budget,
she was,
that I think she was here for, under the water districts, it does show what the clerk was making,
okay,
so it's right there.
I'll tell her. She said she would send you the information too, that she wanted to bring up.
Okay. With that being said.
And everyone, when they're hired, are given a copy of the employee, they get a regular employee packet with the employee handbook and everything that reflects on that.
Okay, can I get a motion to go into executive session concerning some personnel matters?
Oh my God.
Second. All in favor? Okay, I'd like a motion to come out of executive session.
I'll make the motion.
I'll second it.
All in favor? Aye.
Who seconded that?
I did.
Moving on, we'd like to go to resolutions. Executive session, no decisions were made, discussions only. That will be under resolutions. Okay, moving on, we have department reports, town clerk monthly report, supervisor's monthly report, assessor's monthly report, water district monthly report, justice court monthly report, parks department status report, building inspector's monthly report, which we did not receive, and dog control report, which we did not receive. We have a resolution to accept all those.
I'll make that motion. I'll go
Second,
I'll second it.
all in favor? We need to, resolution to hire a justice court clerk, or they have picked the court clerk. In my discussions with the judges, they would like to have the start date be at the time she starts training, which I thought was going to be earlier this week, but now apparently it's not. It will be effective the date that she starts work. Training, the existing court clerk will train with her for a period of time until she's ready to do it on her own, which probably will not take long because she's very experienced.
Gillian Bartley or Margaret Hill. Used to work for Central Catskills.
And the rate of pay will be the same as the previous court clerk. And just a note, there's a, what is it? 60% comes from the state. Is reimbursable, there's a portion of that that's reimbursable, right?
I don't know.
Thought that I'm pretty sure that a portion of her salary comes from the state, but maybe I'm wrong.
Why?
Huh?
Why?
I don't know, because I know a lot of the courts, all that stuff is covered through the state or court system. I don't know, maybe that's not the case here. Disregard that because it may not be the case in this case. Anyway, I need a resolution for that.
I'll make that.
I'll second it.
Need a resolution to accept the resignation of our building inspector. I did speak with him today. He's got several personal reasons for why he wanted to retire and give it up, but he is going to be giving it up.
Come back next year.
No, he did not want to reconsider this time, so. And we have to, I guess,
We didn't.
oh, yeah, we didn't do a resolution yet. Okay, who's gonna make that motion?
I'll make that motion.
Second,
Second.
all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Now we can move on. I have some possibilities for a building inspector. I've spoken with somebody today about it, but nothing definite, so I think we probably need to advertise for that. Don't you think, Diane? I mean, we'd have to find somebody with
What rate
qualifications.
of pay are you gonna use and what's the benefits? Gotta have that in there.
I would say that the rate of pay will stay, for now, would stay the same as what we're paying the existing building inspector.
Cause you're under a contract currently.
This is effective January 1st, so his contract is up January 1st anyway, so. This would all be effective January 1st, that's the end of his contract, so.
But if we got a full-time person, wouldn't we want to hire them? Not either, no, or we just want
Well-
to do a contract.
Well, what you have to consider too is
It's
what was budgeted for that position.
right. And that's what we have to look at it, I mean.
So
depending on
that's
the
going to
person's-
be under the same rate as now with no raise.
That's what the proposal would be, but again, depending on the needs or wants of whoever we can find that's willing to do it. The other factor there is we're still also looking for an inspector to do commercial inspections, and if we can roll the two together, then we obviously have some more budget money to work with there. Just having a little more to do both, so. I would say that we don't set the, other than leaving the budget the same as it is for both of those
Well,
positions.
then I'm gonna revert back to what Jenny was brought up tonight for Judah. So what do you want me to put in the notice?
I want to put the same thing. we always do.
2023 salary, or
I wouldn't even say, I'd say salary to be commensurate with the experience and training. I don't agree with that, sorry.
we need a resolution. right? But not-
Advertise.
I'll make
Yes.
that.
I'll second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
And we need a resolution to appoint the Grand Gorge Roxbury Water Clerk. I understand that the Personnel Committee has reviewed the applications, and you said something about you got a new one in, didn't you? No.
Nobody's
No.
made any application.
Oh, so we're not ready to do that yet.
No, we got the,
Oh, I thought you'd already, not,
no, we got another
okay.
applicant.
Okay, so we're tabling that then for now. I thought you'd already met with him, I'm sorry. Need a resolution to approve the capital contract or capital project pre-approval list invoices.
I'll
You've
make
all
that.
received it in your package. Second,
I'll second it.
all in favor?
Aye.
He did that, Ned.
You did the resolution already about the diagnostic scanner for the highway department.
No,
Did we have a
No.
resolution earlier?
Yes.
oh, for the 17,000, yeah,
Yeah, we
he's
did.
gonna look for
Yeah, but we did a
That was
resolution to
the
use the
ARPA.
API, right? The ARPA funds for that. Um. The Titan invoice, you guys have seen some emails back and forth on that. We did discuss that with Kevin today. I believe the consensus was that we would cover the disputed part of this. There is some money left in the project fund that can be used for that. Titan has been a big help to everything we needed and
Yeah, we
supported
don't
them. In my
Burn that
opinion, I
bridge.
think it's not to burn bridges.
Yep.
Need a resolution for that,
I'll make the motion.
second,
I'll second it.
all in favor? Okay. Vision, plan, wording and option and for our discussions, the other.
That was Kristen had sent to, well, she sent the vision plan wording. One was that it was not part of the buyout. And one was that it was. So which would you prefer? That's a brand new plan.
We're gonna make the resolution. I mean, what you were making. Personally, I think the vision plan should probably not be involved in the buyout. Because it is a new plan. It should have nothing to do. with the buyout.
But what you have to remember is any of the newer guys who are not under the frozen buyout come under things like this.
It's a plan we're offering
Because
to them.
there again. See how you word it in the contract. I've already done because I hadn't gotten an answer from you guys. I had already done the health sheets for the new guys to include it.
That's what I was-
But
Yeah.
if it
Yeah.
needs to be readjusted, then I can deduct
Let's-
that.
I'll include it, make the resolution, include it.
Second,
So you want part of buyout.
second. Awesome. All in favor?
Aye.
We need a resolution to approve the Coalition of Watersheds Towns Agreement for Services, $1,500. This is something that's done every year.
We'll make that.
Second,
I'll second it.
all in favor? All right, we need to award the bid with the options discussed with Mike earlier.
JW Bird.
Yes, the JW Bertzel is the contractor. And we will award the bid to them. It's acceptable. They've been checked out by the engineers and
Which word are you doing? To include the deduct or not?
yeah, we were gonna include the deduct, the plastic pipe, the PVC pipe. And we were gonna also include option one, which is the replacement of valves at the bottom of the system.
Well, that's on both.
Oh, that's on both of them.
Option one just includes the deduct.
Okay,
Also.
so we'll need a resolution for that.
I'll make that motion.
Second.
Second.
In favor?
Aye.
Now, we need to approve the transfer of $15,000 from general fund to highway fund to cover payroll for this week. Until the CHIPS funds are received to reimburse the general fund, that will be, I believe, that's at the end of next week, we'll get the CHIP fund in, and then we can reimburse all of it. Hopefully. Made that in a second,
Second.
all in favor? And you've probably heard some discussion back and forth concerning this 2022 Otini fuel bill. We did have a conference with Kevin's office today on that. And They are gonna prepare a letter to Botini for my signature. Just wanna make sure you guys are all aware of it and okay,
Yep, I saw it, I'm good with it.
basically. Try to bring this to an end without ending up in the collector's hands.
I still don't understand that one either.
But,
You need both.
well,
What a big flex. What a big flex.
So does somebody want to make a motion on that?
yeah, I need a motion for that.
I'll make that.
A second,
I'll second it.
all in favor? We did the public hearing already. We need to approve the change order for Evergreen Construction. Change order number
And
3.
also the pay app, like you said, we have to approve the pay app too, even though it's on the pre-approval list.
Okay, and including the pay app. Need a resolution for both.
I'll make that motion.
Second,
Second.
all in favor?
Aye.
Carried. Okay. Schedule our year-end meeting for December 27th at 4 P.M.
And then we're gonna change to immediately following the public hearing.
Yes, yeah, that's right. And we need to schedule, or we need a resolution for that.
I
27th.
make that.
Second.
So I will be.
You won't be able to do that. Pay the bills. Schedule an organizational meeting for January 2nd, for will be our, that will be our January meeting for the
Yeah,
month
that's the regular meeting.
and our regular meetings. We will not have another meeting in January. Need a resolution for that,
I'll make the motion.
I'll second it.
in favor? All right, that's it for resolutions. You all got copies of the town policies. Again, that was too big to print and mail, so it all went by email, so. Anybody has an issue with reading it? We'll let Diane know, I should say.
I also sent that to Kristen and Kevin, I believe, and Kristen was gonna go over some of that stuff. She thinks maybe some things need to be changed, but I haven't heard back.
Well, I heard her say about that fair housing policy. That was done back in the 80s or 90s or sometime, and that needs to be updated.
And I find that very strange because as I told her, John Meyer was our attorney then, and he was at those meetings and he never said anything about doing that as a local law.
Maybe that was one of the
I don't know.
times-
I hadn't been here that long.
Maybe that was one of the times town was asleep.
So if we do find anything in the.
You remember John, don't you?
Where do I tell everybody or do? No, if I'm running, I'll be sure.
I mean, I would email it to all these guys and that and Kristen and include Kevin because Kevin wants to be, anything that we send to Kristen, he kind of wants to be done too. And then they can. Do whatever.
Okay.
One other note, I don't know if you guys have seen some of the emails about the response or request we got from the Hinkley family concerned in the Grandview Apartments.
Yeah.
We're gonna have Kevin respond back to that concerning whether we allow them water, but if we do decide to allow them water, if they haven't even requested it yet, but in the event they did, it would be their
No,
responsibility. to pay
Their
the
issue
cost.
was if they had to be hooked to town water in order to sell.
That's right, so, yeah.
Yeah. But they may at some point decide they want to do that. He was gonna send a letter back. Just stating that in the event they did, it would be their responsibility and cost. Work it out. Cause you basically have to run from right where the driveway hits from 30 all the way up to the apartments and then 12 apartments, it'd have to be a pretty good size meeting, so it'd have to be up to.
And they use their
Wells. Anything else that you want to say. Well, but again, if you remember back in the 80s when they did all this stuff, the Grand Gorge water was not the best.
No,
And, probably elected to be on the wells because of that, partly because of that reason too.
That's the only thing I can think is that. That it's on a separate piece of the well.
Might
So
be.
can somebody stop?
Well, that's what I guess there's a bit of a thing about.
Yeah,
going on,
yeah.
So they're trying to figure it out. but
That's.
And we've received the water cost updates to date. Training again, we received that.
Yeah, I don't know what you wanna do with that, but basically everybody's supposed to be point training before the end of the year.
Some people are untrainable.
And I'm sure that when they did it the last time, the Department of Labor came.
Look at it. I've never heard of anybody been fined for it, but they do definitely look at it. It's a mark. Okay, we have a resolution to pay the bills. Everybody's seen them. I'll make that motion. Second. Who else reviewed them? Knacker? Second paying the bills.
I'll second paying the bills.
Can you see the amounts for the ARPA funds? I think that's all we have to do. We have 81,000 left in the ARPA funding. So,
Ryan, will we have bills for prior to that meeting on January second?
Year end, yes, actually, have to look at my schedule sheet, cause that's isn't that a Wednesday? There's a calendar right behind you, Dave, behind that. Yeah, right on top, that's 23.
Oh,
I think it's a Wednesday.
the second is Tuesday.
No, I'm talking, we have year end
yeah,
meeting
December.
bills that we do.
27th is a Wednesday.
So these guys will be doing those.
Yes, thank goodness.
And then the second, yeah, there won't be many, but
So I can just come and do
We're gonna go more.
it's only gonna be
All right.
between the 27th and the second.
Are we all good with that?
Yeah.
Now we need a resolution to go home. To Macker and it's got a fire to go to.
What is it?
I'll make the motion to go home.
Big car accident.
Second,
Where?
Pile up
Second.
right in square.
Shut up.
all in favor?
Something.
Aye.
Aye.
All right, thank you, everybody.